study suggests the average American household right now is carrying about $8,000 in credit card debt. Joining me now live via satellite from Washington is Maine Senator Susan Collins. And Senator, as always, thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Greg.
And I do want to ask you right away about the objections that some are raising to this so-called credit card bill of rights, that credit card companies are just going to find some other way to shift these costs onto consumers, and they could partially perhaps shift costs from debt-ridden consumers to those who, quote, do it right. Do you share any of those concerns?
I really don't. I think that this bill strikes the right balance. It provides some much-needed safeguards. It provides for far better disclosure of the rates and terms and fees. And that's really needed. So many families and small businesses are struggling to pay off their credit card balances, and they've been subjected to high fees and unexpected jumps in interest rates.
Yeah, and Senator, some have claimed that the credit card companies and the big banks are only trying to sort of recoup what they've been losing in the credit crisis and when the economy sort of tanked last year through being tougher on consumers. Is this something that you're trying to head off when it comes to legislation like this?
Well, there are already so many examples of consumers not being given very long to pay off their bills each month. It seems the payoff time gets smaller and shorter, and being hit with unexpected interest rate increases or fee hikes. So a lot of what this bill does is require better disclosure. 45 days notice, for example, before interest rates can be changed. And I think that's only fair. It's not fair for the big banks to try to take advantage of consumers in order to compensate for bad investments that they may have made.
And, Senator, I also want to ask you about a couple of other things making news in Washington. The so-called Cash for Clunkers deal that you've been working on that's designed to give people incentives to buy newer, more fuel-efficient cars. As I understand it, there are two goals here: to try to cut pollution and also to help jumpstart the auto industry. I know you've been working on this. What can you tell us? What's happening right now on this?
Well, I'm becoming quite optimistic that we may be able to get this bill through in the next month or so. It does have two goals. First of all, it helps to get gas guzzlers off the road. That's great for the environment because it means that we'd have more fuel-efficient automobiles, and it would also reduce emissions, and it would also give a much-needed boost to consumers and to auto dealers right now. So what this bill does is it would provide a voucher towards the cost of the car if a consumer trades in a car that has bad mileage for one that has good mileage and lower emissions.
And, Senator, I have time for one last question. And you have some news for us. It sounds like I understand that Defense Secretary Robert Gates has accepted your invitation to visit BIW on Friday. What do you hope that you're going to be able to show him there? I
am so excited that the Secretary of Defense is coming to Maine to tour BIW. I want him to see the tremendous improvements in infrastructure at the yard, but most of all, I want him to have a chance to talk firsthand with the dedicated, skilled men and women who work there. I'm sure he's going to be very impressed. This is a time when we're making a lot of decisions on defense spending, and it will be great for the Secretary of Defense to see for himself the great work that's being done at the yard.
All right, Senator Susan Collins joining us live from Washington talking about a number of important issues. Senator, thank you so much for talking to us tonight.
Thank you, Greg.